everybody will stand for a moment of silence and our pledge of allegiance. We'll do a moment of silence first. Thank you for that. Next we've got the Pledge of Allegiance, and we've got Harlan Page is going to come lead us for 4-H.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. All right, so that brings us to the public input. What do we got?
We have 3 people tonight. The first person is Marion Knight from Dandridge, speaking on the moment of silence.
All right, remind everybody you got 3 minutes. And state your name and address.
Marion Knight, West Main Street, Dandridge. I'm speaking on the moment of silence. Why is it okay for every other board and commission to start with a prayer, even with children in the room, except this one? The First Amendment says, Congress shall make no law establishing a religion or prohibiting its free exercise. You are not making laws about religion. It is merely the start of a meeting. How does prayer taint that? No one is forced to pray or believe. They don't even need to listen. In 1962, there was a Supreme Court decision saying that school prayer was a violation of the First Amendment by endorsing a state religion. But Supreme Court decisions may have negated that argument. For over 60 years, prayer has been removed from schools. Whether they wanted to or not, adults in schools have had to behave as people with no place for a higher being in their lives. What about their freedom? Are we teaching children that God has no place in our nation? This is a bad example for our kids and destructive to our society. This nation exists because of God-given rights. Why would we deny that? The time of no prayer is over. How about if we try bringing God back into the lives of our children? How about if we start right now with a prayer to start this meeting? I would like to offer that prayer tonight, and I hope someone will step up at every meeting to do the same until you change your policy. Dear Lord, thank you for courage and for the school board. They are good people. Please open their hearts and guide them to start their meetings with prayer. Then guide them to start the school day with prayer, to restore hope and love and acceptance, even when people disagree. Please grant us the courage to fulfill your will. In the name of Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. Amen. It saddens me that we've fallen so far that prayer is controversial. It's time for a change. So please start your meetings with prayer like other boards. And if a daily prayer in school stops even one child from thinking their only option is to hurt someone because they disagree, it's something you should consider adding, regardless of the risk we face to start doing it. Thank you.
Next.
Next is Brian Morgan, and he's from Newmarket, speaking about the ag barn.
All right.
Good evening, folks. My name is Brian Morgan, and I'm currently serving as Jefferson County Farm Bureau President, and I also serve as Vice President for Jefferson County Soil Conservation District. I've served in the county on the Livestock Association Board of Directors, and I've chaired the Jefferson County Agricultural Committee for hummus. And my wife and I, we own and operate a cow-calf operation in New Market. We've been blessed to have 3 daughters, 2 of which have already graduated from Jefferson County High School. The third is currently a junior there, and all 3 have been very active in FFA. The oldest girl is a teacher, culinary arts teacher at Clinton High School, and her and her husband, they own a cattle farm in New Market as well. Our middle daughter will graduate to University of Tennessee in December with an ag business degree, emphasis on foods. And the youngest, she's the junior, she's serving as the FFA secretary right now for the chapter, and she's really interested in horticulture and cattle. And to say that my family's been benefited from Jefferson County FFA would be an understatement. We've truly been blessed by the organization and its advisors. They've each had a huge impact on their children, and we are very thankful for all the work and effort that they put in. It's easy to see that they're passionate about their jobs, these teenagers, and I'm very excited for the opportunities for the Agricultural Livestock Center on the high school campus. I want to go on to say that our county did a survey last year, and you're all probably aware of that. And coming in at the top of the list was the preservation of agriculture in this county. And I think that speaks for itself. So if you've noticed in the news, agriculture is under attack from several different angles. Land loss to development, age of the current farmers, and the lack of a younger generation pursuing that path. A shortage of large animal veterinarians, especially in rural areas, just to name a few. Certain things are being done to try to combat this, but we've yet to find a silver bullet. Governor Lee signed the Farmland Preservation Act into law in 2025, and they're looking at some possible tuition forgiveness for veterinarians if they're willing to go back into rural areas. But these things can't completely solve the problems. If we have the opportunity to educate and inspire our youth when it comes to agriculture, we will all benefit from that. Whether they choose to make it a career or by vocation, I believe that this is exactly what that agricultural livestock center will do. I want to thank each of you for your consideration in this, and I encourage each one of you to vote yes for this tonight. I'd like to thank you for what you do in serving. I know you give a lot of your time, and I appreciate you allowing me an opportunity to speak to you tonight. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Next is Jason Bales from Newmarket, speaking on ag.
Evening. I appreciate this opportunity to share my thoughts on this important issue. My name again is Jason Bales, the father of a current sophomore. She's also in FFA at the high school. I also have a middle schooler at JMS that guided him into that field as well, right? There's a lot of good opportunities there for FFA. And I'm a 5th generation farmer in Jefferson County. So a lot of ties to the high school growing up here and having the opportunities to see how we have developed as a county. Jefferson County has deep agricultural roots. Farming is not just a business here. It's a way of living. It's the way our lives are shaped for communities, has been for generations. So every year, similar to what Brian was saying, we lose more and more farmland to development. According to the American Farmland Trust, Tennessee's lost thousands of acres of farmland in just the past few years. And when that land's gone, we can't come back from it. This is why an agricultural center at Jefferson County High School is very important to me and my family. Not every student grows up on a farm. In fact, most don't anymore. Agriculture still affects every single one of us. And whether they realize it or not, the food that we have on our plate, the clothes that we wear, even the fuel in our vehicles start with agriculture. So an ag center would give our students that hands-on opportunity to connect with that reality. It would let them see where their food comes from. It would help them show where crops are grown, how they're grown, how animals are raised. And then even more, it would help the farmers show them how we protect the land and how we work it. It would teach them about sustainability, technology, conservation, the very things that we will need to understand to be good stewards in this county's forward progress and future. This center would just benefit the farm families, it benefit every student by building career skills that we need, offering multiple base learning opportunities, and showing them the importance of preserving our farmland. It also helped bridge that gap between the rural and non-rural students, give them that opportunity to see what it's like to be on a farm. And really, we want to develop that into a shared goal of how do we keep Jefferson County strong, productive, and continuing to connect to our roots. Our students are the future farmers, they're our business leaders, and they're going to be our decision makers in Jefferson County. If we want them to value agriculture, we need them to understand what it takes to feed the world. We want to give them those tools and the space to learn that. An ag center is the next step in that mission. So I hope that all of you will vote yes for that. Thank you for considering this important investment in all our kids, the community, and our future as a county. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it on that. Appreciate everybody coming out to speak. So that brings us to changes to the agenda, and we've got some additions here. I think you'll see that there is another trip that you have here to approve. That'll bring that up to 5 different field trips. And there is what we're gonna call the B lease that has been put in front of you. There's one that was in your packet, and then there's the one that's here that has a change on the front down there about automatically renewing unless the Board of Education takes action. So Doug is wanting that added. And then an oversight by myself that Doug brought up to add the 5-year planning committee to the committee appointments. As we got to appoint one person to serve on that from here. So is there any objections to these all being added to the agenda? Big unanimous consent then. So once again, we'll be adding a field trip, number 5 there on the field trip, and then at the fair lease, which is number 3, the one that's in your packet will be A, and the one that was handed to you will be B, and then put a bullet point under committee appointments for the 5-year committee. So, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Doug has moved to approve the agenda. Is there a second? All has seconded. All those in favor show by raising your right hand. And be 7 for, 0 against. Motion passes. Okay, so then that takes us down to the consent agenda items, which you'll see there was approval of the minutes, cross-country team, FFA National Convention, Beta Club National, or their state convention, yearbook, and then the field trip for the ROTC. So is there a move to approve the consent agenda items?
So,
Got Dawn has moved to approve the consent agenda items. Is there a second? And you second. All those in favor show by raising your right hand. All right, and be 7 for, 0 against. Those items are approved. Brings us down into committee reports, policy committee, and I'll turn this over to policy chairman here, Mr. Doug.
Okay, well, Nashville strikes again. There are a number of policies that we approved at our last business meeting on first reading that we have since, after we approved that, gotten further guidance from the attorneys and legislators in Nashville, so we have to revise those. So those, in addition to a revision that TSBA has suggested that we make to our use of personal communication devices and electronic devices. The opinion of the policy committee is the policy on, the changes to the, policy 6.312, which is the cell phone policy. We like this to be a first reading and have a second reading at the next meeting, since it's a revision to a policy that we put together ourselves. So, and then the next ones all have to do with charter schools. And because we approved that on first and final reading the last time, we would like to do that also this time on first and final reading when we get there. So what I will do is we will first consider our use of personal communication devices and electronic devices, policy 6.312. The changes here have only been additions. What we have done, or what TSBA recommended us to do, is in addition to our policy, to give exceptions to that policy. So for example, in the yellow out area under students, it says a student may, however, be permitted to utilize a wireless communication device under the following circumstances. Then it lists the following circumstances. The policy committee felt that was all very reasonable. There was nothing unusual about that. Then on page 2, there is a yellow in area that has to do with, in the event of an emergency or possible emergency occurring at school, parents, guardians shall be alerted by the one-call system and the district website, which we in fact do. We just did not have that in our policy. So, Mr. Chairman, upon the recommendation of the policy committee, I move that we approve the revisions to policy 6.312 as presented.
All right, the motion's been made to approve policy 6.312, and this is on first
On
reading.
first reading. Not first and final. We will approve this again on next week.
All right, so on first reading here only, it doesn't need a second since it comes from the committee. Any discussion on that? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approving on first reading policy 6.312, show by raising your right hand. All right, that'd be 7-4, 0 against.
Okay, the next policies, we again would like to lump these all together. Policy 1.901, 1.903, 1.905, and 1.906. These all deal with charter schools, regulations, restrictions, revisions, etc. At this point, they really do not directly affect us because we have no charter schools in our area. However, down the road, if a charter school does come into our area, these would be pertinent. These are redos, again, of policies passed and adopted by the board on first and final reading last month. Since then, we've received these additional mandatory wording that must be added. It's not up to debate. This is, again, as it was last month, already law. So we are just approving these on first and final, that I will ask on first and final reading to be in compliance with existing law. The policy committee unanimously recommends passage and adoption of these policies as a grouping on first and final reading. So, Mr. Chairman, I ask for unanimous consent to suspend the rules to adopt policies 1.901, 1.903, 1.905, and 1.906.
Is there any objection to suspending the rules on this, to pass these on first and final reading? All right, we'll have that as unanimous consent.
Mr. Chairman, I then ask that the said policies be adopted on first and final reading.
Okay, so we have this come from the committee, so it doesn't need a second. Any discussion on those? All right, all those in favor of passing 1.901, 1.903, 1.905, and 1.906 on first and final reading, show by raising your right hand. All Alright, motion passes 7-0. Alright, so we don't have anything on second reading, we don't have any committee reports, I don't believe. We still gotta meet later on, so.
Mr. Chairman, I say
Yes.
something about policy. We do not have another policy committee this year. Our next policy committee is in January next year unless board members request one. So we will not have another scheduled policy meeting until January of 2026.
Thank you for that. Alright, so then that brings us down to the new business. We've got the committee appointments. Now, the parliamentarian by our rules has to be elected. So we will start there with the parliamentarian since that's since that's bullet number 1. Is there any nominations for parliamentarian?
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Josh Cameron for parliamentarian.
Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Alright, all those in favor of Josh Cameron as parliamentarian, show by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Alright, that passes 6-1. Now we got policy committee, the rest of these are appointed, so, we got, previously on the policy committee was Doug, Danny, and Dawn. Doug, do you care to still chair that committee?
Yeah.
Alright, we got Doug on there, Danny agrees to stay, Dawn. Alright, so Doug, Danny, and Dawn on policy committee there. Thank y'all for that. Let's see. We got delegates to the TSBA convention for November, not to exceed 4 board members. So, who all wants to volunteer to be a TSBA convention delegate? Who's going, I guess? We got Doug down here. Paul, Danny. Dawn, you going?
All right.
Alright.
It's like
Gone on that one, already. Got those in. Alright, next one be Tennessee Legislative Network, and Dawn, I think you've been doing that one, haven't you? Do you wanna keep?
Yeah.
Alright, appreciate this. I know I get their emails a lot, so there's a lot going on in that Tennessee Legislative Network committee stuff, so appreciate Dawn volunteering and serving for that. Next one, Building and Maintenance Committee. This was one that we just got started last year, I guess. Paul, do you care to keep chairing? All right. Coach, you still up for being on there?
Sure,
Thank you, sir.
I get to talk.
Yeah, hey, listen, you can talk all you want.
Josh won't be here.
All right, then we got the joint committee. I'm on that one. Doug, you want to keep serving on that? Paul, you want to keep on? And everybody else is welcome to come. I think we are have we had 4 or 3 meetings so far?
This will be our 4th coming up this month.
We've been the only ones that's had everybody there the whole time, so we can be proud of that. Now, something and maybe Tommy can tell us a little bit about this. Insurance Advisory Committee, we need 1 board member for that. What exactly goes into that?
Hopefully, that will not be that's if we run into some insurance needs to modify, but I don't see that happening. We're fixing to enter into another agreement in January. There'll be a rate increase, but unless something drastic happens, I don't see that being a need.
Okay, Dean?
Rhonda,
You
did I
never know.
serve on that this past year?
I think so.
You wanna keep, thank you, sir, for that one. So Danny will be that, and then the 5-year committee, which we added into here, we got a board member on there, Doug's been on there, you care to keep serving for that one? And then, Tommy has his folks and himself on there for that, so Doug's gonna keep serving on the 5-year committee. And I think that takes care of committees. Yeah, alright, thank y'all for that, I know it can be busy, but appreciate everybody doing that. So then that brings us to the, JCHS Ag Building. I guess before we get
Mr.
going,
Chairman?
yes, sir,
If I may make a motion.
yes.
Have at it. I move to allocate $391,373 from 141 fund balance toward the construction of an ag building on the campus of Jefferson County High School. Well, now I'm going by the document laying here in front of me.
Was it one
Unassigned
time?
Fund balance 391,373. Am I right?
You are correct.
I said it was 430. Last
Yeah.
month it was 430.
Yes, you are correct.
I'm correcting it. Okay.
So you care to pass that around?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Good luck on reading that.
Well, we got a second on that then. The move is, allocate $391,373 from 141 fund balance toward the construction of ag building on campus of Jefferson County High School. That's been made by Coach and seconded by Danny. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
I get to go first. Looking at this document in front of it, there's some other dollar amounts there. The total cost, I think, is $643,908.10. That was just fund balance. I don't know if other motions need to be made for the 161,600 on the 90,009,351. But
Can you?
my motion is just for the fund
Yeah.
balance, okay?
Yeah, so, within that funding plan, there are unencumbered, funds that if you move this project forward, that'll be cleared up in budget amendments, after this to equal the amount of $643,908.10. So, in those budget amendments, it lists items such as the culinary project that came in. We used some grant funding. There was $55,000 or so left in that project. There was some, projects that was, I believe, remember, was there a guttering project?
So
A
we
roof
just moving
project.
money around in
Yes.
this year's budget, so.
That's
if we
correct.
pass these budget amendments, that takes care of the rest, that's my question.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yesterday, several of us had an opportunity to tour the CTE program at the high school. Okay. We did. And, kind of repeating myself from yesterday, I guess, I was really amazed at what I was seeing, what was going on, and hands-on stuff, equipment, and it's not just in a book and taking notes and rote memory and you can get a test kind of thing. I mean, there was stuff going on, and in that when I talked yesterday, I to tell how old I am. I was there when the school opened in 1975. I was 28 years old, 50 years ago. And when I went there yesterday, 50 years later, I would not have imagined the vocational or CTE, whatever you want to call it, what was going on. You know, it's just the technologies that are available and the teaching's going on and the amount of kids that it does serve. And I think this building, this pavilion or ag building will augment that process. And like I've always said before, people, farmers are born, they're not made. People are just born to farm. I've got a brother-in-law, that's all he wants to do, is farm. And can't have you. I know it's hard work. I've done it growing up, that's why I'm not a farmer. But there's some that do, and I think we need to provide every opportunity possible for this segment on the population, student population in high school to further advance their learning curve and that stuff. And I'm finished up. I'm done.
James?
I think we had asked Mr. Martin last time if he could kind of come up with a figure of what it would cost to fully dress this out. If we could allow him to come up, because I
So,
kind of like to add this.
I've talked to Mr. Martin, and he got an all-in right now of $29,000, and this right here will, be able to, this plan will put $25,000 in there, and I'm sure somewhere, if there's $4,000 additional, we can find it somewhere.
That's maybe what I was wanting.
There's a retiree in December, and he may donate that $4,000, maybe.
Is he in this room?
He is in this.
What was the name of that retiree again? I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
That's mainly my,
Yeah.
that was my
Yeah,
question.
we can also, so they included into this, a complete cattle working facility, 16,000 extra panels and gates for crate animal pens, 3,500, automatic waterers, 2,000, large animal scales for weighing, $2,000, fully enclosed facility for 5 hogs, sheep, goat pens, 10 by 5 with gates, $6,000. So as Tommy said, about $29,500 for that. Yes, sir.
As you know, I was one of the people last meeting that voted to delay discussion of this, or voting on this until this meeting. That was not because I don't think we need it, I absolutely do. But I wanted to check with the state to see if monies were there for grants that we could offset some of the costs. They're not. I checked with Senator Steele's office, I checked with Senator Farmer's office. They're just not there. So that being said, I'm satisfied that, you know, it's priced right, that we need to do what we need to do. So I will be voting yes on this.
Anyone else got anything? All right, and we'll vote on the move to allocate $391,000 and $391,373 from 141 fund balance toward construction of the ag building on campus of Jefferson County High School. All those in favor of this show by raising your right hand. All right, that's 7 for it, against 0. And I brought my special FFA gavel. Motion passes. Give this All right, so then that brings us to the fair lease, and like I said, the one that was in your packet, we're gonna call it A. And then the one that was laying on the table, we're gonna call it B. I'm gonna get mine out here and actually label it so I can see it.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would like to move to consider lease agreement B between the board and the Jefferson Car Association for approval.
All right, is there a second on that motion? I'll second it. Let's see, let me get this down. All right, Doug, you got anything?
Sure. What we have is from discussions with the Fair Association, their major concern is that they do not really have, when they have to come back every year, they need certainty to be able to book carnival rides, rodeos, things like this in advance, because I guess there's a great demand for it. So what they asked was some kind mechanism where they could get some kind of certainty so that they could look to the future and assure their vendors that, you know, there was gonna be a fair next year, so they would commit to it. They suggested that, we do a, 3-year lease. It was either a 2-year lease with a 3-year extension, or a 3-year lease with a 2-year extension, something of that nature. I believe Dr. Arnold checked with our finance department. Can you maybe explain what that
Yeah,
is?
so, anytime we start doing multi-year leases, it draws the county into, some type of financial requirement that would result in them having to do a resolution, us having to, take out some type of, financial hit with the county. And it would be easiest and cleanest just to do it 1 year with automatic renewal, unless you take action to do something else.
And I believe that, you know, that way we can, at this meeting, if we so choose, approve a 1-year lease with an automatic extension. And as you'll see in the where it says to use the lease premises, said lease will automatically renew annually unless the Jefferson County Board of Education takes action to not renew. So, I mean, if there's some reason, if there's something in the lease that once it's in place, we decide we want to change, we don't have to renew it, we can change it and then renew it. But I think giving them some kind of a certainty that unless, for example, something happens on their end and the Fair Association disbands, or something happens on our ends and we want to change something, that they're automatically going to be able to use the property again the next year. I think it gives us some certainty. Other things that are changed in here from our existing lease would be we would get their signage. Right now, we don't allow them to put signage up until 10 days before their event. This would change that from 10 to 15 days, and it would change the cancellation, the cancellation from 120 days to 180 days. So it would go from 4 months to 6 months. Everything else is pretty much the same as we have in our existing lease. They did ask for some other things. I didn't quite understand why they were asking for it. I thought it might be a good idea to have somebody from the Fair Association come up and explain it. Maybe if that makes sense, we want to include that in here with an amendment. If not, then we don't have to. But Mr. Chairman, I'd like to call up a representative of the Fair Association.
All right, is anybody here from the Fair Association? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I just have a couple questions and then.
All right,
Okay.
questions?
One of the things I noticed in here is you asked that the utilities over there be changed into the Fair Association, in the name of the Fair Association rather than our name. Could you explain why you'd like that, what the reason you want that would be?
Okay, the reason why that we would like to have it changed back into our name, because it used to be that way, and we could just pay the bills each month, and, you know, just keep up the payments on the bills. Now, with it set up the way it is, everything goes to a spreadsheet for all of your all's stuff, and then I have to call the electric company, find out each payment from them with the numbers that I have, and then the next month I pay for the month before. But this way we could go ahead and pay it just like you would if you were living in a house. You pay the bill right then, you don't wait, and that way, because that's the way it used to be. We used to have all the utilities in our name, and we just paid it monthly, just like you would if you were, you know, renting a house or renting an apartment or whatever, or leasing an apartment. We just automatically took care of all the utilities, and we would like to have that back the way it it was, so that, because some months we won't have a whole lot, but some months, you know, if we have something over there, then we're gonna have, you know, have a different amount, and we'd like to know, you know, what we're gonna have to pay.
Dr. Arnold, is there any reason on our end we wouldn't want that to happen?
It doesn't matter to me. You know, I would just ask that if they have anything that is not, you know, associated with the normal fare, that they come through, same type of facilities use agreement as
Sure.
anything,
Sure.
so that we know what's going on.
Okay. And I have one other thing. You handed out a list of proposed events for the coming year. Could you go into that a little bit and why you want to do that?
These are just some of the ideas that we were throwing around as a board of things that we would like to do, and it's for the community. It's not for the fair necessarily. It's just community involvement, and it's just for us to do things so that the community knows that we're not there just for fair, we're there to help with other community activities. We'd like to raise awareness of the FFA and the 4-H and all that kind of stuff. We, you know, some of the things that we are wanting to do pertain to FFA and 4-H. And like Josh was there when we had our Century Farm dinner, and, you know, we invited every Century Farm person or that, you know, was in the community. We had 15 farms RSVP. We had 4 farms show up. So here we had all this stuff, and, you know, we didn't have the farms to show up for it. But that's just part of it. But we do that to make awareness of those type things, because we want to show the Century Farm owners that we're proud of what they do, and we're proud of that heritage that we have with them. And, you know, the FFA, we can do all kinds of things with them. And I've talked to Mr. Martin about doing things, and, you know, there's a lot of things that we would like to do. There is a lot of things that, you know, like our breakfast with Santa, or, you know, something at Christmas time. We would like to do that as, have the kids come, make stockings, see Santa, have their pictures made with Santa. But it's not necessarily that we're trying to make a lot of money, we're just trying to make, you know, do things for the community, like we used to. Because we used to do stuff like
So
that all
you're
the
saying
time.
the reason you're doing this would not be to make money
No,
for the fair?
no, it's not to make money, because more than likely we'll lose money on some of the things that we do. But it's to bring, you know, more awareness to the community that we're there for them, not just for ourselves.
Trying to think if there was anything else I need to ask you. Yeah, please go ahead.
I have a question concerned over the insurance. I'm not in favor of putting anything in the fair's name. We, as a school board, have got it insured.
We have insurance, they have insurance, so there is, they have liability insurance whenever they carry it, so they'll have to carry that longer.
Would they have it the whole
I have
year
already
round?
checked to make sure I can get it for all year, and I can.
If you don't have insurance and you're still gonna have these activities, who would be responsible for it?
We will have insurance for the entire year.
But if you don't, who would be responsible for it?
We wouldn't do it if we didn't have insurance.
You wouldn't have anything,
If we don't have insurance, we don't do anything. That's one of my main things. I make sure that there is insurance.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
You talk about a lot of events, sounds great, but the only event that you'll be charged, entrance fee and parking would be the fair.
Yes, yes,
All the other events.
yes. That,
are gonna
everything
be
else is done.
Off the community and
Yes.
all that good stuff.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Just wanted to clarify that in case
Any other questions? Yes.
You give us a list of, I take it the 6 things that are on here, I think it goes up through May.
Yeah.
These are just the things you guys are putting on.
Well, if we can, yes.
If you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Just say
just
you-
some of the things that we
This
would
is what
like
you're-
to do.
Yeah, you'd like to do. These aren't vendors, this is what
No.
you guys wanna do.
This is just us.
Do you foresee yourselves, like, having vendors come in at any point, trying to rent the property to put on anything?
No, no, no. What we would be doing for the community. We wouldn't be having vendors come in. And if we did have if anything else happened, we always discuss it with Tommy before we have anybody else over there. Because they still have to go through you guys if they're gonna do anything, because we don't just have, the only thing that it has ever been over at the fairgrounds is Carson Newman has had, used the barn to build floats for their homecoming parade. That's the only other thing that's ever happened over there, other than fairs doing stuff.
So when you guys have the fair, I know one year I went there, I think you charge for parking. You guys, in the past, at different years, there's been different ways to be somebody coming to the fair. Like this year was free parking, you paid to enter into the fair, right? Do you have a set way you're gonna start doing that? Is it kinda just been like?
Well, this year,
around?
it worked out really well having the free parking, and, we will probably continue to do it that way.
Then just charge at the gate to come in?
And that's it, yeah. The only other thing that people have to pay for if they come to the fair, other than gate admission, is they would have to pay for pony rides. Because they do charge for the pony rides. But everything else is included.
And how much is it to get into the fair?
And, of course, the carnival does charge for their armbands.
But that's the
That's
carnival
the carnival,
themselves?
yes.
Do you guys get a cut out of that?
We
as
get a
well?
little bit,
Right,
we
okay.
get like 4%.
Right. How much is it to get into the fair?
It was $10 per person.
Okay.
Director, I have a question. Do we not, Jeff Middle, Jeff Elementary School, get some money off the parking?
They get money from the Fair Association, $1,800 to each school, is paid to $1,800.
That's
Jeff.
guaranteed no matter whether they charge parking or
Right.
what, or
Yeah.
every fee.
That's just what we get there.
Right, yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with whether it's parking or whether it's other. That's just what,
One time you kinda did, didn't you?
yeah,
As long as they get the
that's a long time
$1,800.
ago. That's a long time ago. Long time.
Okay, I'm with you.
Anything else? Yes.
Just wanna make
About
sure
how many
you get
vendors do you typically get for the fair?
It just depends. Some of them sell stuff, some of them do not. And the ones who do not sell, and like if it's like a agriculture person, they don't pay anything to come and set up. You know, like if a beekeeper comes and sets up, they don't have to pay anything. If anybody selling like produce comes, they don't have to pay for anything. It's only people who are there selling like jewelry or this, that, or the other, is the only ones that actually pay for anything. And most of the ones that we do have, like, the hospitals, the nursing homes, people like that just wanna hand out their literature, they set up for $250 a week, which is $50 a night. And, that money just goes toward our insurance and our expenses and stuff like that.
Okay. And so this proposed events, I know this is only proposed as hypothetical, so if we go ahead and, if this were to be approved, this would at least help you guys bring in more revenue in addition to awareness.
Not much, because like I said, most of this stuff, we're either gonna break even or we're gonna lose money on it. Simply because we supply all the materials, like if we have breakfast with Santa or something, and we have the stuff for the kids to make ornaments and stockings and all, we buy that stuff ourselves. So, and then of course we have to pay for the insurance, we have to pay for the electric and all of the utilities. So, in turn, if we do make any money, it's not gonna be very much.
Can I make a mention that these events, this is not part of what we're voting on.
No, that's just
If they wanna do
proposed.
this, there's a provision in the lease that they have to come and get approval from us to do it. So this is not part of what we're voting on. This is just something that she passed out at the last meeting. I wanted to clarify exactly what it was. So this is really not part of the motion at all.
That's just some of the ideas that we would like to incorporate there. Of course, it's too late this year to do very many of them, but this is just some of the things that we would like to do. We did have an Easter egg hunt last year because it was right after Easter came, right after our lease started. And we had like 300 and something kids, which turned out to be very good. We as a board bought all the eggs and all the candy and everything, and there was no charge. The kids loved it, they had them all. We did have a few little vendors set up that was there, but they weren't, you know, they didn't give us anything to be there. But it turned out to be a very good thing for the community, and we did raise a lot of awareness for the community by having that egg hunt.
All right, Paul?
I just have two more questions. I can only imagine the undertaking it takes to set the fair up.
Oh, yeah.
I go to them every year. How soon in advance do you have to get on the schedule with, I know it's James Gang that we've been using to.
We sign a contract with them in January when we go to convention.
Okay. The other question that I have is roughly, do you have an estimate of how many people come through the gates?
I didn't bring the total.
I'm not looking for an exact, I mean,
Ah,
obviously it's more than 1,000 people over
Oh,
the course
yeah.
of 5 days. but
do you have any idea what that
I
was?
don't know what it was. Is it consistent each year, like last year and this year? Is it consistent?
Last year we were down,
Okay.
and we were down a little bit from the year before. But it was the week that it was, because it was the 4th of July week. A lot of people were out of town on vacation, so we know that that was one of the contributing factors to that. But we were down like a little over 1,000 people, like maybe 1,500 people from the year before. And we keep up with it from year to year, because I keep a gate book of exactly how many people come in each night. It's in the car, but it's not
That's okay.
ready.
Are we on schedule to keep doing it the same week?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it will be the same week this year. Next year, it will fall back like 1 week later, simply because of the way the carnival schedule works. So next year, it'll be like the 2nd week of July instead of the 1st,
Okay.
which will make it a little bit better.
All right, anything else?
I just asked a question, the electricity being put in their name, it's not in this Plan B,
I'm going to make an amendment right now to do that.
okay?
Do you want me to go ahead with that?
Yes.
Okay, I move to amend the motion on the floor for approved lease agreement B to include the following wording to replace the last 2 sentences in the section entitled Rent and Utilities in lease B. The wording would be, the following wording to replace the last 2 sentences would be, all utilities used on the premises shall be placed in the name of the Jefferson County Fair Association, and tenant Fair Association shall be responsible for timely payment of all utility charges.
Is there a second to that amendment?
I'll second that.
All right, Paul has seconded the amendment on the utilities. So I'll read that again, just to, move to amend the motion on the floor, to approve the lease agreement B, to include the following wording to replace the last 2 sentences, which is, they're already highlighted here. In section entitled Rents and Utilities, all utilities used on the premises shall be placed in the name of Jefferson County Fair Association, and the tenant shall be responsible for timely payment of all utility charges. Is there any discussion on the amendment? All right, hearing none, we'll vote on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment, show by raising your right hand. All right, that's 7-4-0 against, so we're back to the main motion, which now is going to be, hold on just a second. Move to consider the lease agreement between the board and Jefferson County Fire Association and include the following wording to replace the last two sentences. In section entitled Rent Utilities, all utilities used in the premises shall be placed in the name of the Jefferson County Fire Association, and tenant shall be responsible for timely payment of all utility charges.
I'd like to make an amendment. And I don't know where it goes in this, but I'd also like to include that all school employees with proper ID get in the fare free +1, only for entry.
Okay, is there a second to that amendment?
I'll second that.
All right, Dawn has seconded that amendment. Can you write that down so we can,
Can you repeat it, please?
yeah, you need to repeat it.
That all school employees with proper ID get free entry into the fair +1.
That's,
Any discussion on that amendment?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I think that's going a little bit too far because they're asking to make money. We're not asking them to give us money. Of course, they're gonna have to pay $3,600 to the schools anyway. And for, you think, all school employees, teachers, kids, and everybody, is that what you're saying?
Is a kid a school employee?
Sir?
Is a child a school employee?
He's
They
saying,
go to school, don't they? They
he's
go in
saying,
there with their mother
I
and
said a
daddy
school,
and.
a school employee.
he's saying school
I
employee plus
understand what he
spouse.
said. That's
And
exactly what
as
he
a-
said.
I'm talking about if you're a cafeteria worker, if you're a bus driver, if
I
you're a
understand
teacher,
that. Yes, sir.
if you're an administrator, you're gonna take, I don't go to the fair just by myself. I take a child. I don't usually go without my wife, and we sit around on the bench. I don't go there without spending probably anywhere from $100 to $200. By the time I pay for armbands and food and anything else we do. And I just think that it being on school property, I mean, I already don't think we pay our teachers enough. And, I mean, I just think that it's just something a little extra nice to do to our school employees since it's on school grounds to begin with.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Ma'am, I got a question. Y'all are walking a thin line on
Yeah.
breaking even.
Yeah, most
sometimes.
everything, well, let me just give you a little
Please
tidbit
do.
here. This year alone, we paid out $7,341 in agricultural premiums. That was what we paid out for the kids to come and bring their cows, bring their entries. That's what we paid to them for their entries. We don't just make money to be making money. We put a lot of that back into the kids. We gave a scholarship to the one of the FFA girls, Ellie Gann. She got a $1,000 scholarship this year. We give a scholarship to, our Ferris and Fair each year. They each get $1,000. We had 5 scholarships that we tried to give away. Couldn't give them away for nothing. Tried every way in the world to get them to just send in an essay so we could, grant these scholarships. We had 2 entries, is all we had. And, we were gonna, give both scholarships away, but one of the guys that we were gonna give it to, he never came over, and all we require is that they come over and put in volunteer hours during fair. And he would come and help with the fair, so he won't be able to get his scholarship. And then we do other donations as well. We give donations to the fire department, to the rescue squad, and other associations like that. It's not just for us. We try our best to do things for the community as well. And it takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of money for insurance. It takes a lot of money for advertising. It takes a lot of money for the events we put on. I mean, the reason why we quit doing rodeos is because it's $95,000 each time you do a rodeo. You can't afford that kind of thing if you're not making money in. And rather than cut our throats and not be able to pay the kids their premiums, we choose not to do the higher expensive entertainment. And that's what we're trying to do. Because we want to make sure that we have that money set aside to pay those premiums to those kids. And to the adults that come in and enter stuff.
Paul, could I clarify something? Let's say a cafeteria worker comes in, and under your plan, she's bringing her husband and 3 kids. How many free tickets are you proposing that they receive?
It would just be her and her husband.
Just her and her husband, not all the kids and everybody else.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna have to oppose this amendment, just me, because, I mean, I know it might seem like a fiddly squat to some of us, not to me, but that's a lot of money for you all that could potentially, because I know when they do free stuff for teacher shows up. So, and every time they got something free over in Smokies and I'm able to go, I'm going. So I think this will take a hit to y'all's pocket. Anyone else? Don't.
Thank you for clearing up those figures.
Uh-huh.
I appreciate that.
Anything else on this amendment? All right, so, all those in favor of the amendment to allow a school employee plus 1 free admission, all those in favor show by raising your right hand. There you go. 1. All those opposed? That'd be 6, so that amendment then fails. So then that brings us back to the motion that was amended to include the utilities. Is there any more discussion on that?
I have something that, already got turned. I don't really have anything against the, renewal automatic. But I do think that the board needs to know that that's happening. So somebody may have an objection, but it slipped by, and they didn't have the chance to do something. So, that might be put in a policy or something that the school board would be informed X amount of time before the contractors renew.
Makes sense.
Just, sometimes you forget things are happening, and, does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I would, not in the contract, but in our own board policy, just to keep the board in, that's coming up.
Yeah, just like any other report.
Right,
Right.
yeah, that's coming up, and,
Our fiscal
There's-
year is October 1st through September 30th
right.
for our taxes. So
So
if we
if
can
somebody's
do
got any
it,
objection,
kind of set it along
otherwise
that same
somebody
line.
says anything, it automatically goes on. But y'all work on the policy
Yeah,
for that,
I can help.
okay?
All right, anything else on
This is actually a question, I guess, for Tommy. We are paying property tax on that property, aren't
We don't pay property tax. We don't pay property tax as a government entity.
Okay. And we do pay insurance on that property, right?
Everything you own is insured.
Okay.
Under the same policy, pretty much.
Yes, we have one policy through Tennessee Risk Management so let's say something happens over there, and it falls back on us. Also, we get named in the suit, then our coverage will kick in.
And is it based on across all of Jefferson County or like per location, is there a separate, like, how does that work?
There's a spreadsheet that is, it has everything, so just think of every school. If a school burns down, the insurance company has to know, so it's valued, everything is listed, no different than your home. The building, the contents, people, things, whatever is insured within that, policy.
And how many buildings are on the fairground property?
Every building in the district.
On the fairgrounds specifically?
There's big livestock, there's six,
5.
five,
Only 5?
there's a restroom,
The announcer's booth.
bouncers, Rayburn.
The, exhibit barn, the gun white and the livestock barn.
And I was counting the pavilion,
Well, that's the livestock barn.
the, over there on the far right, behind the exhibit barn, the stage.
Oh, the stage, I don't really even think about it as being a building because it's all open.
Yeah.
So structure.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a structure. Well, so that would make more and more.
Six.
6.
Structures, and we pay insurance on all 6 of those?
That's included in our
Included.
insurance as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and included in ours?
Yeah. It's depreciated down, I mean, it's nothing to what. Long story short, we got into something on a restroom that was at White Pine during the construction. Do you remember that, Joy? They were searching for it, it was, showed up on insurance. I sent them a picture of it. It is basically a glorified outhouse that actually connected to a sewer line and water wrapped in metal. She said, "Are you serious?" I said, "This is it." She said, "Never mind." But every structure we own that is considered a building is insured.
Only in East Tennessee.
I know. It took me a long time to find that.
All right, any more?
So if we was to put that in their names, the utilities in the fire association's name, and what building was left out or something, it would fall back on the school system, right?
Nah.
I'm not in favor.
If something burns down, is that what you're saying? So if something burns, so the fair is to have us listed as on their policy. So if a building burns down, the check's coming to the board, and then the board has a choice.
Coming to us as a
Yes,
board?
yes, it
And
comes.
we have a choice to pay them?
Yes, to build it back or whatever, that's the board's choice. So, no different than if you own a house and you rent a house to somebody, the renter can't get insurance on that piece of property because they don't own it. They can only get renter's insurance on the contents.
Any more discussion? All right, so move to consider and approve lease agreement between the board, and Jefferson County Fire Association, and the lease agreement, or lease agreement B to be, include all the utilities used on premises shall be placed in the name of Jefferson County Fire Association. Tenant shall be responsible for timely payment of all utility charges. All those in favor of that show by raising your right hand. All those opposed? All right, so the motion then for to approve the fair lease passes 6-1. Okay,
Any more questions?
I think we're good there.
All right.
So that takes us to the school board meeting schedule 2026, which will be the last thing in your new business there. Is there a motion to approve the school board meeting schedule for 2026?
So moved.
Danny has made the move. Is there a second?
I second.
Dawn has seconded. Any discussion on that one? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
I noticed that our last meeting is June 25th, it's usually a special call, so we have the June meeting, and then our next meeting isn't until the end of August, which is actually September. We actually take July and August off, correct? Is there a reason why we missed 2 months? I get July, probably vacation, you want people gone, but we have no meeting in August.
Did we have a meeting in August this year?
No,
At the end of August.
at the end, but it's actually the
That
work
was the work
session,
session.
for
Yeah.
September.
Ever since I've been on here, since I've.
Has it always been that way?
Coach, how long has it been like ever you?
You know, you're always, as a board, you're always able to call a special call meeting if business arises. So as you end, the fiscal year and you start a new year, there's not a lot of need for, amendments. There's not a lot of trips. There's not a lot of business that gets conducted. You know, if you look at our August going into September meeting, it was not heavy. But I'm not saying that we might not have to have a special call in August to address an issue with Talbot or Jefferson Elementary School if that need arises. And that would just be a simple thing between Josh and I if the need arises, or how that can get called into a special call meeting.
We've always had a meeting for budget amendments at the end of June. And to answer your question you asked me, I don't recall meeting in July other than if it was necessary. Like I said, there's not a lot going on. I mean, I don't care to meet. It's just a matter of, would there be anything on the agenda, you know? But I mean, like you said, we can have a call meeting.
I think there's 24 right now, scheduled, meetings, counting the retreat on here. And then you go ahead and add in, policy committees and, 5-year plans and maintenance and, you know, you start getting up there in near 35 to 40, so.
All right, any more discussion on this? All right, hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the school board meeting schedule for 2026, show by raising your right hand. All right, 7-4, 0 against, motion passes. And that brings us to the budget amendments. There are 4 on the docket here. General Fund 141, number 4, items 1 through 5, which is page 1. Is there a move on this?
Make a motion to accept.
Bill motion,
Second.
Doug second. Any discussion on that? I think you'll notice that some of this includes the livestock structure stuff. So that's several of those there. So. All right, all those in favor of approving General Fund 141, number 4, items 1 through 5, amendment, show by raising your right hand. All right. Passes 7-0. Then we got General Fund 141, number 5, items 1 through 2. Is there a motion on this? Danny has moved. Is there a second?
So moved.
Bill has seconded. Any discussion on budget amendment number 5 there? All right, hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving General Fund 141, number 5, items 1 through 2, show by raising your right hand. 7-4, 0 against. Next one's Federal Fund 142, number 2, items 1 through 3. Is there a move on this amendment?
So moved.
Doug may move. Is there a second?
I second.
Dawn, second. Any discussion on this budget amendment? Alright, all those in favor of approving Federal Fund 142, number 2, items 1 through 3, budget amendment, show by raising your right hand. 7 for, 0 against. And then lastly, Capital Projects Fund 177, number 2, which is the very last one here. Is there a move on this?
So moved.
Dean moves, there a second? I'll second. Moving along. Any discussion on this amendment?
I do have a question. On item 2 there, where it has building improvements, to move committed funds to an expenditure line for 26. We talked about so many capital projects. Are these projects that it has paving and roof repair, are these projects, are we moving this money in case we need the money, or are these projects that we committed to and need money for because we have committed?
So basically, we've just ended last year and then this year, so they were in an expenditure line to end the year, then they go into reserve, and then we have to bring them back into an expenditure line. But we do not currently have, I don't think we currently have anything committed on these projects that I'm aware of.
So we're just bringing them back into our account in case we need it.
Yeah, we always looking at paving projects.
Sure, okay. Yeah, you asked my question.
I don't have anything.
Anything else? Alright, all those in favor of the motion to approve Capital Projects Fund 177, number 2, items 1 through 4, budget amendment, show by raising your right hand. 7 for, 0 against, passes. That brings us down to school commissioner input. Anyone? Yes, Doug.
I would like to place on the agenda for the work session and for a vote to revisit the Perfection HVAC replacement unit for Jeff Miller for next month.
Alright. Any other items for input, for commissioner input? You won't say anything about this?
If you don't care.
Yes, go ahead.
So had a meeting today on Jefferson Elementary School, starting to talk a little bit about what it's gonna look like. But one thing I wanted to draw to your attention that Blankenship gave us today, on the second page top, you see the schedule. And that, right now, we're in schematic design, 75 days, schematic design, and we hope to have that complete in 2 weeks, and to you in November for a vote, consideration of that, if I can get it out to you in time. So then it moves into design development, and then it moves into construction documents. If you look, construction documents ends into May into June. Then we have to bid it out. So we really need to start working to develop a plan so that we don't miss some in the summer. So we're having conversations, working on that. But I want you to know it is very tight. You know, it seems like we started this in plenty of time, which we did. You know, we started that in July and started moving forward with contracts and those things, and it's just eats up a lot of time. So this was from Blankenship to get us to project start. And then whenever you bid it out and you hire a contractor, their start date's not the next day. So we may get creative and start bidding out packages, such as abatement package, where whenever the kids walk out, the next day we've got an abatement crew in there that's that section of it's bid out. So You're gonna start hearing me talk a lot about this. I'm gonna start sending you information on Jefferson Elementary School. But this is what we're looking at right now as far as what was given to us today. Gonna be.
All right, thank you for that. Any other?
Can I ask Tommy where we are in Talbot?
So basically, the pictures, did y'all get those pictures? Couldn't tell if they went through or not. That's about where we're at. So shortly after I sent you those pictures of the base laid down in gravel, we had the rain that moved in. Not a lot happened after that. They started back this week, so they'll be digging footers, laying out the footers and pouring footers, and then you'll start seeing concrete block coming out of the ground in the next 30 days.
Thank you.
Anything else? Announcements? October 14th, joint committee meeting, Patriot Academy, 6:30. Anybody else got anything?
I'd like to say one thing. I went to Newmarket during the principal for the day. I really enjoyed it. I know that she's not here tonight, but the kids loved her so much. I mean, every kid that come up was giving her a hug. But one thing she told every kid before they walked away was, "I love you." That means a lot. It really does. So, you know, I just want to let Miss Rogers know she does a great job.
Oh, 14. All right, we're gonna make anybody wanna make a move to adjourn there?
So,
Dan, is there a second? Got Paul on the second. All those show by raising your right hand to leave. We want the FFA advisors and the you ladies to come up here. We want to get a picture to celebrate the, yes, that includes you, Mr. Maples. I seen pictures of you on the Facebook and stuff, so I know you take, people got pictures of you, so.